In this problem, we are going to start by taking g of x equals 5x natural log x and finding g prime of x. Then we're going to do another problem where we have f of x equals negative 2x squared e to the x, and we want to find f prime of x. Starting with g of x, notice we are multiplying two functions together. We have the function 5x, and then we have the function natural log x. We need to use what we call the product rule to multiply these out, to find their derivative, that is, when they're multiplied out. So, the product rule says we need to take the first term, which is this 5x, our first function, and we need to write it spaced out from the second function, natural log of x. Then we find the derivatives of each of these functions below themselves. So the derivative of 5x is just 5. Whenever you have a polynomial with just one variable, the variable goes away when you find its derivative. From here, the derivative of natural log x is just one of our special rules. It's automatically 1 over x. And the product rule says that once you write this out in this way, then you're going to cross multiply and add the results together. Meaning we get 5x times 1 over x plus 5 times the natural log of x, or 5 natural log x. And when we simplify this, we could put this 5x over 1 so that it's easier to see we're multiplying two fractions together. And at this point, we have a common factor in the top and bottom that we can cancel out, giving us 5 over 1, or just 5. So we're left with 5 plus 5 natural log of x. And that is our derivative, g prime of x. At this point, I suggest you pause the video and try to do the same thing with the second problem. Okay, so now let's go ahead and try to find the derivative of f of x. So, we write it out as our two separate functions, negative 2x squared and e to the x. And now we write the derivative of each one of these below. So the derivative of negative 2x squared, remember we multiply the exponent out front and subtract 1 from it. That gives us negative 4x to the first, or just negative 4x. And then from here, the derivative of e to the x is always just itself. It's one of our special rules. So, now we cross multiply these results, and notice we are going to cross multiply before we did this multiplying the 2 out front and subtracting 1, meaning we're going to cross multiply negative 2x squared is what originally was there. So at this point, I'm just going to erase this really quick, just to avoid confusion here. So now we're going to cross multiply. We get negative 2x squared times e to the x plus negative 4x times e to the x again. And when we simplify this, it gives us negative 2x squared e to the x minus 4x e to the x. And that is our derivative, f prime of x.